Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon, and I am joined once again by my beautiful, beautiful partner and co-host.
Hey, y'all. It's Deandra.
Welcome to another episode of The Buffet, where we try to give you endless food for thought. Come eat with us. All right, babe. What are we talking about today?
So I wanted us to talk about and discuss the pros and cons of dating with an age gap.
Okay. Where did this come from?
Well, a while ago, I was seeing on Instagram like couples with large age gaps, like your wife number 3, you're in your 20s, but he's like 60, 70.
23 and 70? Okay, that's not that type of age gap that I was thinking about.
What
but
were
go
you
ahead.
thinking?
When you said like an age gap, I meant maybe like, I don't know, 10 years.
No.
Like you talking about I can be your granddaddy age gap?
Yes, like a big age gap. And like couples having multiple reels about their relationship and about the fact that there is this large age gap between them. And so I just wanted to talk about the pros and cons of dating across an age gap.
Sure. Okay.
But before we kind of hop into that, I did have a first plate.
All right. First plate. Let's get it's a little amuse bouche.
Boy, you learned one word.
Look that up. It's actually a culinary term from France. I'm gonna school y'all a little bit.
So on the Instagram page, Black Marriage Movement, which we follow, there's a post saying that 43-year-old R&B singer Tyrese says he broke up with his 20-something girlfriend because she wasn't ready to settle down. And so in the post, Tyrese has a caption which, if y'all have followed Tyrese in recent years, you know he's been saying and doing things that, while very apparently are emotionally charged for him, are funny as a reader or consumer of his life's content. So I'm going to read this.
That's true.
And I assume that he wrote it with a more serious tone. But for me, I laughed a couple of times. Okay. So stop trying to convince me that your daughter is not a snake. I just want to be released from this strong, devilish allure, the sexual seduction of a masterful manipulator who knows how to convince everyone that she's not mean of there to kill you. I think that was a typo. Please, God, release me. Release me from your poison. Release me from your stronghold. Release me. I belong to the kingdom. I have so much more work to do. I am single now, and I want everyone to DM have fun with at Zelly Timothy. She's verified now and wasn't ready to be married. She still wanted to go big Zane, live her best life. I want to get married and settle down and really, really nest and embrace the comforts of this family and married life. I smoke hookah at home every day.
Damn.
So I don't want to be in your clubs or around your women. I want to stay home and be the hardworking family man that I am.
First of all, Big Zane. Are we talking about like the Zane books from like way back in the day?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Second,
and that was all caps. Oh. So that makes me feel like it was intentional and not a typo. But I have no idea what he's talking about.
And also, who is he talking to? Is this a prayer? Is this an internet prayer to internet Jesus?
I think Jesus is everywhere. He on the internet, but I don't know who this is directed to. I guess
said get your daughter. I was like, oh, is he talking to her? Is he talking to her father, or
yeah,
is he
her parents, or
the father,
her heavenly father? I have no idea. But yes, this was his emotionally charged, written down IG caption. I don't know what the picture was, but this again is from a secondhand page, and so. For our first plate, one, I want to hear your immediate thoughts and response to this. There's a second part, but I want to hear what you think about this.
Okay, he may be keeping it all the way a stack and being heartfelt and sincere.
I think he is.
And if that is true, I don't want to take away from like a heartfelt cry for help and assistance or whatever it is that he may be. Mm-hmm. That being said, as someone on the outside looking in, that is very hilarious. That is funny as hell to hear this. I'm like, bruh. And then that on top of just all the other, I guess, shenanigans that he's been up to over these last, handful of years, I guess. Now, you're asking me what I think about the situation of him trying to marry someone who's, I'm just do regular math to say 20 years, different age difference.
Yeah, about 17.
Okay.
Because he's, a 23. It's either he's 43 and she's, no, the caption says that she's 20 something. So we don't know how old she is, but let's say at least double digits, between 10 and 20 years.
Let's say 15, cut the difference.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's unusual. It feels like it's unusual now, these days. But like a handful of years ago, it wasn't that unusual for an older gentleman to marry a younger woman. But what I think about it now, I mean, I don't have a problem with it if, obviously within consenting adults, but it seems like she wasn't consenting to marriage. So
wait, I want you to go back to the part that you just said where a couple or a few years ago it wouldn't have been unusual.
By a few, I mean like at least 20.
Okay.
20, 30.
Yeah. That's not what a few means. We talk about this all the time.
A few means 3.
Exactly.
But yes. But at the same time, it's still not like, it's not, maybe it's an unusual thing here in like America, in the US, but I feel like if you go to Europe or other places in the world, South America, Latin America, I don't think that is something that people would be like, oh my God, like, why would you do that type of situation? I don't think it's anything to like turn your eyebrows up or I think it's just normal. I think it's just here in America and with this, these new people, us, millennials, that where large age gaps are starting to be frowned upon and then stuff like that. But I don't necessarily have anything wrong with it. Like I say, as long as, people are consenting.
Okay.
But I have to question, at what point did Tyrese know that she wasn't trying to get married?
I would assume from the beginning. I would assume that, I mean, the way that he presents it is as if she has done some work to, manipulate him and put him in a compromising position where he was ready to give her the world and she wasn't ready to receive it in the form of a marriage. This is what I think.
Okay, tell him.
I think that if you have in the public eye been married and divorced, have had a string of relationships that were not successful relationships, I'm a 20-something-year-old woman, I'm in a relationship with you, I'm going to have fun while it lasts, but I don't expect it to last forever because your track record has shown that is not the place that you're in. Or that's not the place that you've been in, right? Because I think that recently he had a divorce, like within the last handful of years. So you have tried to do this, but you haven't necessarily been in that place successfully.
Well, yeah.
And in your pursuit of me, a 20-something-year-old person, you also have been 20. You were 20 at one point in time. You weren't in a rush to get married. What makes you think that I am now in a rush to get married?
Actually, we don't know. I mean, how long has he been married to? Well, how long was he married to the lady before they got divorced?
I don't know, not that long.
But I take
but
your
you
meaning.
get what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like, I think that like what is foolhardy about older men dating younger women with that significant of an age gap is that they forget what it was like for them to be 20 and to explore their options. When they were 20-something, having sex with an older woman, they did not think that woman was going to be their wife, bear their children, and they were going to have a long relationship with them. So why wouldn't the reverse also be true? Like, why wouldn't a 20-some-year-old woman who sees you could have children her age at this point or close to her age? That's true. Why would I be like, that's the one. Mm-hmm. Let me start family number 5 with him. He got baby mamas. He got marriages. He got baggage, but this is going to be my forever. Let me start right here. Let me start fresh. Even though I have a multitude of options, you are so magnificent. That's real. You just the bomb, and I have to be with you.
Well, when you do that scenario, I understand where you're coming from.
But that's the scenario, babe. Yeah. Like the scenario is like, what kind of delusions of grandeur do you have to think that me at 20-something with all the options in front of me, you are the option that I'm going to choose and stick with forever? I got time to play around. I can be with you for 10 years, still be hot at 30, get back on the market if I decide. Look at Cassie and Diddy. I'm saying, like, I can be with you for a long time, and then when I decide that it's over and I want to live this other part of my life, I have the space and the time to be able to do so in a way that you maybe don't, or you have limited or less access.
Okay.
Granted, you have money, which will give you access and will allow you to do certain things. But I still have youth. I still have time on my side. I'm still a desirable young woman. And so if I choose to, like, end this relationship, like, it's not going to be any sweat off my back. It doesn't mean that I can't move on. If I want the family that I want, the life that I want, is still an option for me as long as I'm willing to do the work or put myself in position to get those things.
Right.
And so I think that, like, this is foolhardy. Like, why are you...
I agree with you in that sentiment. Like, you know, we can argue back and forth about, you know, like what she can and can't do after she get in a relationship and youth and 30 and all that stuff like that. But her decision to not want to commit while she's in her 20s, I hear it. And like, that is completely her decision. I'm like, I don't think Tyrese was in the right or in any point for being angry that she wasn't wanting to get married at 20 something.
Okay.
I think at this point, I feel like you've been here before, so I feel like you should know what it is that you want from the beginning, and why didn't you communicate that? And if you did communicate that, did she lie? Did she say, yeah, I'm with it, and then, like, you know, however long it was together, she was like, nah, I'm not trying to do it? Or did you know that she really was, like, not really caring about getting married, and then you were just trying to wear her down, so to speak? And then now you mad when you realize when she stuck to her guns. I don't know enough about that situation. I just know the outcome of it. So I'm just saying that, like, I'm just saying, if we take it as it is, in the sense of just her being like, yeah, he popped a question to me at X point down the line, and I was like, nah, I'm not trying to be married. It is what it is. It sucks. But I would have to, but at the same, Tyrese.
Are you talking directly to him?
Tyrese. And men. And any man. Like, I feel like at this point, I don't know who needs to hear it, but I feel like if you're going to propose marriage to a woman, I feel like you should know the answer before you do it. Right? Like, it shouldn't be a surprise whether she's going to say yes or no. Like, if you don't know, I don't think you know her enough to want to propose marriage to her. So I'm a little confused about this. So I think it is more of a cry for help, or not cry for help, but just a cry for attention, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Tyrese, you've been married already. You got kids, right?
Yes.
Why are you trying to get married again, bro?
He's remember, what more do you want from me?
What more do you want from me? Come on, stop. I don't know, but that's generally where I stand in regards to that specific situation. Like, I feel like at Tyrese, as being the older gentleman, the wiser, quote unquote, person.
Well, that's
you, and the person who's been here before. Like, you should know what you're looking for, what it looks like, and be in pursuit of that. And if you're not getting that from who you're with, you're Tyrese. You got potentially millions of dollars. I don't know what your pockets look like, but I'm assuming. I see the movies. I'm sure you're getting some money for every time Fast and Furious come on. Like, you good.
Yeah. You have options. Or at least you should have options if you choose to exercise it.
Yeah, you can sing to her. Like, come on, are you good?
So the second part of this is a woman responding, and her name is Jane Airy, I think. This is a woman on Twitter. So she says, men in their mid to late 30s and 40s losing their shit because they date women in their 20s who don't want to get married immediately. Honey, read the room. I'm absolutely dying at Therese calling that woman a master manipulator, as though these old heads aren't targeting women that age, with the express purpose of manipulating them.
She had me into the end. She had me to the end. So, like, I'm not discounting that there are probably some dudes out there who will target a younger woman because, like, they're easier to mold, so to speak. But she's making it seem like every dude who pursues a younger woman and they're older is out to what's the what's the word they use to groom them?
I don't believe that's true, but I do believe that I think you should both know what you're getting when you sign up. And I think what she's saying is you should have known what the first part, read the room part, is like you should have known what you were getting when you signed up. You should have been able to assess the situation, given the amount of time that you've had as an adult in the dating world. You should have been able to assess the situation and say, like, you know what? This is only going to be able to go but so far. We're only going to be able to do but so many things. And that's going to be the extent of our relationship. And I'm just going to have fun, for the ride. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the experience. You should be able to read the room. The same thing that I was saying earlier. You were 20 something once. Like, you should know what, in some regards, what the mind state of a 20 some year old person is and what they're wanting out of life at that point. And what they're wanting out of life and what it sounds like you want out of life don't align. Don't match up. And so it isn't going to work. Now, if you went into that situation knowing that person didn't want what you wanted, and you decided to sign up and stay there, and then you're asking them to do this thing that you want that they don't want, and they're not conforming to what you want, then yes, that you are putting yourself in a position where you're trying to manipulate someone.
You're right.
And I think that that's what she's pointing to. I don't think that she's pointing to the fact that, like, all men who date younger women are master manipulators. There is a certain level of I guess like a knowledge advantage, basically. Like you've seen more, done more, presumably have access to more, whether it be wealth, resources, not like you just have more than I have. And so you're coming in at an advantage because of that age gap. And so, yeah, there is room for you to potentially manipulate me and rely on the fact that you're older and say, like, well, I know what's best.
That's the whole
That doesn't mean
point.
that you're going to act on it, but there is potential for you to do that. And so I think that's okay too. I think it's okay to call that out.
I guess, but at the same time, like, isn't that what most women want out of their men? To be established, to be knowledgeable, to be assured of themselves and what they want, and be able to, like, communicate and get that? Isn't that the type of man that women say they want? So, like, how is it suddenly just because he got extra years on him that is manipulation? But if he was 30 and she was in her mid 20s, that would just be, oh, you got the right one. But suddenly now he's 43. Suddenly he manipulating you.
I don't know, babe. I don't think that that's exactly what it is. I think that the playing field there is a difference between the gaps that we're talking about. Like a 5-year gap is different than a 10-year gap is different than a 20-year gap.
I hear that.
And I think
that's very factual.
Like the difference is how even we grew up, like the generations that we're in, what were norms for you as a young adult versus what are norms for me as a young adult. Like we aren't even coming from the same like frame of reference because we weren't children at the same time. Like we just didn't experience the world in the same way. The mistakes of your generation, I'm having to like deal with and navigate if we got 10, 20 years apart from us. Right. And so like we are going to have
more 20 than 10, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we're going to have different worldviews, different perspectives, and different experiences in the world. And because of that, we're going to have different mindsets. And then because of those differences, and honestly, in 20 years, you could be more like a parent, aunt, uncle to me than a peer to me. I can see why it would be significantly easier for you to manipulate me because I'm going to treat you as if you're an authority. Like, how do we see on this, like, how are we looking at each other eye to eye if you're going to expect for me to defer to you because you're older? People are going to address you first because you're older. Like, there's just a lot more ways in which you have authority over a situation than what people would presume I have.
I agree. I agree with that. So here's a question. At what point, what point can we give the responsibility to the younger person to be able to identify, like, this is what you will be walking into? So it's like, I'm assuming when they got together, she was legal age and of knowledge to recognize, there's a big age gap difference here. Like, he may want something that I don't want. He may be in a position to have some kind of authority, some kind of influence on me that I may not be able to see because, he's older. There may be some manipulated, unknowing, unintentional, but it may happen regardless. Maybe I need to stay clear from certain age limits maybe I need to have an age limit. At what point do we look at the woman in this situation and be like, you shouldn't be fucking with old boy, because he's an old boy.
I think we put that responsibility on the woman.
It could be anybody, whoever's the youngest.
Whoever is the younger of the two people. Once you get into a committed relationship, because I think when you're dating, it's just fun, right? Like it's just a little bit more jovial, a little bit more lighthearted. It's not that serious. But whenever you come into a space of like, we're exclusively dating, we're now in a relationship, we're considering marriage. Now you have made a decision to commit yourself to this person in this way. And not only in the sense that, like, even if you were more equally yoked, which I don't know if I agree with that. If there was less of an age gap, there would still be a greater chance for influence, right? Once you decide you're in a relationship with someone, you have greater access to them.
Right.
You start to see how they are and mimic some of those things, whatever. And so if you make the decision to be in a committed relationship with this person who's older than you, then that responsibility is on you to mitigate those challenges of that person's influence on you.
Right. Okay.
That's when I feel like it is. If you're just dating, of course you consented to dating, so you knew what it was when you signed up. But once you're in a committed relationship, now you really need to know what it is, because you actually have and truly have signed up for this.
Yeah, and then when you sign up, I'm assuming you put enough time in to be like, how they are, like, hopefully your eyes is open and you recognize, like, hey, why he got me, why I gotta be wearing an apron everything, why he only, why I always gotta cook every meal, why I always gotta be wearing an apron, why I gotta act like this and do these type of things with him. I don't like that. At that point, you'd be like, nah. Now, when the exclusivity thing comes, that's when you'd be like, nah, what you want, it's not matching up with what I want, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit stage left or whatever it may be. So, yeah, so like, while it is fucked up for those guys who do get with the younger woman with the intention of, I guess, grooming and manipulating them to be, because they're younger, so like I can teach them to be better, be a better wife for me, or whatever excuse they use. You also got to recognize that for the other side, you kind of knew what you signing up for. We at some point, youth and ignorance is not an excuse anymore.
Agreed. No, I agree with that. Yeah. And honestly, what I will say, just looking at the track record of people who are in relationships that have significant age gaps, is like that sometimes has to happen with maturity, and maturity takes time. So for the people who get to the point where they're already in the committed relationship, it might take them years to like,
oh no, this is not what I want.
This is not what I want. And because you've been in it for so long, it's harder for you to leave it, but it just takes some time. Like, I think when I think about I think Cassie and Diddy are a great example of that, of like, actually, I think I want to like have kids and like be married to someone who doesn't have all the baggage of their previous relationships and all of their other kids. Like, I think I want this for my life. She leaves him, she goes and makes it happen, like, immediately.
Yeah, that's true, but not everybody is Cassie.
I mean, that's fine. Not everybody has to be Cassie. I'm just saying that's an example of if you are in that space and it took you that long to for it to click.
What were they together for a minute?
They were together for like 10 years.
Oh, and they were never married.
They were never married.
Never had no kids.
Never had any
That's
kids.
wild.
But as soon as she made the decision that she wanted to have kids, she had kids.
Immediately. So I mean, it has. I'm not sure. I was like, does that mean that she's always wanted to have kids, but she doesn't want to have a kid with Diddy during those 10 years? At what point did she know, like, this is not for me?
Mm-hmm. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. But I think that is indicative of like how much time sometimes it can take a person to realize what they want within a relationship where there is that significant age gap. And so let's talk. I feel like it doesn't take that long to recognize what it is, but I feel like when there's Diddy money and influence involved, I'm saying, maybe that might make it a little more, might muddle the waters and make it a little bit harder for you to recognize, this is not what I want. No.
But if it was like, goddamn David, working the 9 to 5, making $60K, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take 10 years to realize, like, nah, this is not what I want.
I don't agree with that.
That might be a wild take, but I think so personally.
I don't agree with that because that discredits like who that individual person is and what stuff they got going on. We don't know what her childhood was like, what kind of trauma she grew up with, what expectations she had about relationships that were contributing to her staying. Yes, I'm sure the money helped. Like, I'm sure the money made her comfortable and allowed her to do and experience things that maybe she wouldn't have been able to do or experience outside of that relationship. But you don't stay with somebody for that long and not love or care for them. You don't stay with somebody for that long and not have develop some dependence on them outside of the financial aspects of it. And there are women who are not in situations where there is that much financial gain that stay for just as long. I think a part of it is like the maturity of coming in from your 20s into your 30s. Like, I think that is...
But they're usually married though. Huh? But those people are usually married. Usually they marry young and then, had kids, and then it took them to later on to be like, this is what I want. I haven't heard too many of them. Like, I was young, I ain't had no kids, we never had no kids, we never got married, but I stuck with them for a decade plus, and then I realized this isn't what I wanted. I haven't heard too many. Cassie is the only story I heard. It's always been like, I married and we was too young, we were fresh out of high school, we were just freshmen in college. He was the only man I knew, and and we had these kids, and then we were so tied together and codependent. And then by the time I was like 35, I realized like, I was just unhappy. I was unhappy. That's the story we hear. Mm-hmm. We don't hear the like, oh yeah, we were just kicking it, we was having a good time, we were together, but we never had no kids. We were together 10 plus years, and then I realized after that fact that this wasn't for me.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying the story. Your story doesn't match with
but it is.
I mean, what you're saying is true. What you're saying can be true.
I know what I'm saying is true.
What you're saying can be true.
What I'm saying is that in a situation like what we're evaluating with Cassie and Diddy, the money is not the only thing that kept her around. You're implying that the money was enough to keep her around despite the fact that they didn't have any other ties. And I'm like, yes, I'm sure the money was great and she enjoyed and appreciated the money. But not having not had kids over that time span, like having gone from your 20s to your 30s over that time span, having had whatever type of background and childhood she had, all of those things were also contributing factors. Like, people don't just stay for the kids because that...
Go ahead. No, I'm still finished.
People don't just stay for the kids because if that was the case, then a lot more people would still be together.
But...
they stay as long as they can and take as much as they can until they can't take it anymore, even if there aren't kids involved.
But they're married.
Babe, but if you don't come from marriage, if you're with someone who said that they would never get married...
and you knew you wanted to be married, but you decided to stay with somebody who didn't...
and then she left and then she got married.
After 10 years?
Yes.
No.
The same way that we're just talking about Tyrese hoping that this woman would change her mind.
How long were they together? Were they together 10 years?
No, they weren't together 10 years. But I'm just saying, you don't think the same could be true in the reverse fashion?
Yeah, it can be true.
You don't think she would stay around hoping that one day he was going to change and things were going to be different? And then when she realized, shit really not going to change? Like, nothing. You mean nothing is going to change? You mean like these kids that I want, you're not finna give them to me? This marriage that I want, you're not finna give it to me?
You think they're waiting for 10 years? Like, I'm not down that there are people, women and men, who will wait, hoping and praying something would change. But a decade? Like, I mean, outside of outliers, because as soon as I said that decade, I remember the story about the person who waited in the friend zone for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Like, but that's over there.
You're saying that's over there, but I'm telling you, people do it. They do. So my age gap story is that I was dating someone with a 14-year age gap. And at the time that I was dating them, it was right before I moved to Haiti. Mm-hmm. So I moved to a whole different country. We were not in a committed relationship. There was no title. There was nothing that had been exchanged. Mm-hmm, The person came to visit me in Haiti. We had a good time. We kikied. They went back. No relationship, no official relationship. when I moved back to the country at the top of 2020, and it was time for us to like, hey, like, what are we doing? Are we going to actually be something? This person who is 14 years my senior was like, I don't really know. I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship. I'm not sure what this looks like.
Okay.
Rada. As soon as I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to move on. I'm going to pursue other people. And once we're done, we're really done. This person was like, wait, I thought we were going to be something. I just offered you the opportunity for us to be something. And you've been around for a few years. Clearly you don't want to be anything. And now it's over. And they were like, no, I don't want it to be over. It is now over. People are delusional. Like, I don't understand why you think that people aren't delusional and won't wait.
Wait. So you're saying that story where I'm confused. I thought your story was going to be how you decided, hoping and praying that he would be together.
They were hoping and praying that something was going to work out. When I pressed them to see if something was going to work out, they were like, no, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So how long it took you to do that?
Like 3 years.
And do you think it would have happened sooner if you weren't living in a whole other country for 2 of those years?
Perhaps. But what I'm saying is that it can take a time.
No. I agree with you 100%. It can take time. I'm just saying it don't take 10 years.
Babe, it can take however long it takes.
Sure. It could take as however long it take. But you tell me that story and change 3 years for 10, I'm looking at you sideways. Or I'm looking at man sideways. Like, you hoping and praying for 10 years, my boy? My girl?
People are hopeless romantic.
And you weren't married and you ain't had no kids and you waited 10 years? Okay.
People do it.
Okay.
The actual topic for today
main course
are the pros and cons of dating with an age gap / how much difference is too much. Where you want to start?
Let's do pros and cons, and then I feel like let's do the what's the age gap is too much at the end. Pros and cons.
Let's start pros. All
right, pros. Mind you, all the pros is going to be younger woman, older man. Look what I'm about to say. So pros for a younger woman getting together with an older man, or I guess an older man getting with a younger woman, is the man has a higher chance of being much more financially stable, more sure of themselves, knows what they want, hopefully has the better communication, being able to communicate what it is that they want, know what they like and what they don't like. Come on now.
I said hopefully.
Generally just an all around more stable person and more family minded. They're actually want to have the kid. They want to be married, because we're assuming we're talking about a younger woman getting together in marriage or a long-term partnership with an older man.
I think there's potential for that. I think as the younger woman who is dating an older man, you get...
Wait, are we talking about just dating? Like, we just kicking it? Or are we talking about like dating with like intent for serious relationship? Because that's two different things.
I will clarify what I'm talking about when I'm saying. Okay. I don't know that there is to you,
because I had to change my answer because depending on which model we're following. If you're following, if we just roster building, that's the pros and cons is not going to look. This going to look yes.
Well, then do roster, because I was doing roster.
See,
okay, fine.
Set me up. Have me out here.
Okay, so the pros of being the younger woman dating the older man is access to new experiences and new growth of your cultural knowledge, because they, again, depending on the significance of the age gap, y'all weren't peers. And if you weren't peers, that means his cultural references are going to be different from yours. What is entertaining and nostalgic for him is going to be different than what it is for you.
Sorry, I'm just imagining.
And you have an opportunity to learn
Turn
those
off that
things.
Hippity hop. Turn off that hippity hop. That booty music. Hey, that's not God's music.
And you have an opportunity to learn those things. So some cross-cultural communication and knowledge and growth.
That's true. Okay. And to piggyback on what you were saying, for one of the benefits for a man in that situation would be like, she can keep him young. You feel me? Yeah, keep you young. That she will also open you up to new things, keep you more cognizant of what's going on currently. Because once you get to a certain age, you get more set in your ways. Mm-hmm. You kind of block out all other things that don't have nothing to do with what you got going on. Mm-hmm. Having a younger woman in your life could I'm saying got you. You're gonna have some 50-year-old man rocking the new J, rocking the Fashion Novas. I'm saying got the coochie cutters on. Yeah, there we go. The hoochie daddy shorts on, something like that. I mean, hopefully, saying they in some kind of shape. I'm assuming that. I mean, I'm assuming
wrinkly skin and hoochie daddy shorts, a sight I don't want to see.
Well, we see that all the time.
Wrinkly skin, like old.
You don't see. You can see older gentlemen walking around with them short shorts, especially when we got the workout outfits on. You know what I'm saying?
I've never seen that, and I'm not trying to sign up for it. Okay, another pro of, let's do the reverse. I think the pro of older woman, young man relationship,
long-term relationship, like. We staying with the same type of model?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Is a greater match in their libido.
Okay.
You know how they say that women past a certain age, their sex drive starts to ramp up. They're with a younger man, his sex drive is ramped up, and so they'll be they'll have a greater match in their libido and be able to do what they need to do, get it done.
Yeah, for the men, that part as well, and also expansion on. Or greater knowledge and on sex. I feel like women at a certain age, they know what they like, what they want. They'll be more
vocal.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Ideally, what I'm saying, they'll tell you no, yes, more this, less that type of shit. Versus, with a younger woman, they'll be like, I'm a little embarrassed. So there's that, but. That's literally the only benefit.
The reverse could be true too, of not necessarily a match in libido, but like a sharing of information and knowledge.
Yeah, that's true.
In a older man, younger woman relationship.
Yeah,
he might be able to teach her a few things.
I agree to that, but at the same time, I feel like a younger woman would be less open to different experiences sexually. What I'm saying? If it feels like this is too embarrassing, like, I'm not eating no booty. I'm not. Well, that's probably not true. I feel like all the younger ones are doing that. But like, what I'm saying, different wild positions or doing, different things like that. I don't know. I feel like if the younger woman is, I feel like they're less confident in their bodies. I feel like when it comes to sex, being like, I don't want to look weird when we were having sex. I want to look good the whole time. You feel me? Like, am I making sense when I'm saying this?
I get what you're saying. I think that which can be true of people of any age, but the security and self-awareness and like self-assuredness that is required to be able to have like the type of sex that you want to have and be kind of inhibition free.
Just wet. Just like don't worry about if you're looking any type of way. Just as long as the job is getting done. I feel like that comes with a little bit more confidence, which usually comes with age. But the sentiment I agree with.
Yeah. Do you have any more pros?
No, that's literally the only pro. That's literally the only pro for a younger man to date and significant older woman, like older, because like you want kids and things of that nature. That's going to be a little dicey. The older the woman is.
True, unless you don't want kids.
Yeah, so.
Okay. I don't know if I have any more either in terms of pros.
Now, if you were talking about, roster building, I don't think there's any pros.
I think there's pros if you're roster building.
Talk to me.
I think that if the person that you're with came from a different time period in which courting someone looked differently, like what we just talked about on the last episode, where like fixing a plate for a man is not slavery; it's standard for this person. That could be a pro for you, like. But
you're not fixing the plate for a roster, somebody on the roster.
I think you are. I think as an older woman who is like engaging with a younger man and he is seeking some benefit from her, that might be a part of the benefits that he's seeking and would come to expect.
Oh, I guess. But no, when I think roster building, I mean like we just coming through for this casual.
And on the casual, I can't be nice to you?
I mean, you can be nice, but like in what situation will we be where you fix me a plate? You mean like I'm at her house and then she makes me dinner?
Or there was dinner already made and she saved for you.
Okay. I can see that. Okay, I see what you mean. When I say fix a plate, I'm thinking like we were out and about.
No, not at a cookout. I'm just saying like you came over and on top of you doing the deed that you were actually here for, I sent you with a little
That's true. That's true. You will be fed.
You will be fed messing
with an older woman. I can say that. So I guess that is a pro, and I guess we can bring over the benefit of the sex part too. You can still get that.
Yeah, you can still get that if you're just roster building. Yeah. I agree. I don't have any more pros.
That's it. That was pretty much it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe the other pro is the fact that if you are roster building, this is the one person on your roster you don't have to worry about running into while you're out with somebody else on your roster because they at home.
But at the same time, I guess that would imply that the other people in the roster don't know that they're on the roster.
No, I'm just saying like it's awkward. I'm not saying that in the sense that
you ever ran into somebody on your roster while you was out with somebody else on the roster.
No, that has never happened to me. But I'm always fearful that it will. Yeah. I get nervous every time.
Especially when you was in DC. Yeah. Every time we went out, I was like, oh God, please, I hope I don't run into somebody who was on the roster I had to let go.
Wow.
I was like, I just don't want that problem.
Did you take me to any spaces that you had already taken someone else?
Yes.
Wow.
I take you to places I like to go. I don't have a specific place. I'm show you how I live. This is how I live. I do this.
It's okay. I did the same.
I don't think that's weird. I think that's a wild thing to be like, you can never take me somewhere. You took something like, bro, you better calm your ass down on that one. Especially when we was in DC. There's only so many places we can go.
That's not true. There's a million places there. But okay.
I thought about having like a dating like location place, like places to go just for dates. And I was like, that's so much work. I don't know these places. I want to go to a place I know is good, that I like, because that's what's going to happen. Like what I look like, I take you on our first handful of dates, and then as soon as we make it official, we never go to any of those places ever again. We go to a completely new set of places that I have hella familiarity with, and you're just like, what's going on? It's like, oh no, this is where I go all the time. But I had to vet you, and until I brought you over here, I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Tangent alert. But we back. Cons. Give me some cons.
Of what? The roster building? Of the roster building age gap?
Yeah. Or we can do both. But if you want to start roster building, we can start there.
It's the age gap. It is the lack of understanding. So depending on how large the age gap is, I'm saying, as a young man, you can't you can't hit up Miss May after 9. You know what I'm saying? You can't hit up old Roger. Roger ain't calling you after 10. So
there has never ever been anyone named Roger.
I feel like Roger's the older name.
It is an older name, but it's not a common older name.
I feel like it's common.
You could have
said, that's a lot of Rogers out there.
You could have said Willie.
William. Oh, William.
Yeah.
Don't call him Bill.
Don't call him Bill. Wow. Yes, the age gap is the thing. And to that point, I was also going to say the cultural gaps. Like if we communicate in different ways, just sheerly based off of the generations that we're from, I want to text, you want to call, or I want to FaceTime, but you don't have an iPhone. Like things like that.
That flip phone.
Yeah, like things like that can create some disconnect in our ability to communicate.
Be prepared, as a young woman going out with old William. Oh, Willie. My man's might have a Kango with the Bluetooth, with the joint on the side. You feel me? Like, hey. You see, I feel like most people, black people, seen the Spice Adams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had to get out the car and shit. wearing the hard bottoms everywhere they go. Got the church shoes on.
No, I don't want that for myself.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah, that's definitely a con, because what is nice to you is not what is nice to them. What you think is like, let's go out for a fancy dinner, let's go do this. Mm-hmm. And y'all don't have the same image doesn't come to mind for y'all because they're thinking of something else. Mm-hmm. And they dress differently.
Mm-hmm. Go on a date, he come through in the Sunday best, or she come through in the Sunday best, and we just going to get some tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think that's true for roster building and relationship.
Yeah, it is. I think that's true for both. Mm-hmm. Another con would be how you can get along with this person's friends. This is for the long-term part. Like the age gap between your friends as well. It'd be hard for you to mix. No, I know where we left off. We left off talking about the cons of not being able to friend group. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Not being able to mesh your friend group because you and this man barely have something in common. Let alone your homegirls and his friends, or your homeboys and her homegirls. How? They ain't got nothing to talk about when they're all together in a group setting.
That's real.
They don't. One group of people is watching the news when they wake up. The other group of people is listening to music when they wake up. And they don't even know what the other person... If they walked into each other's room at the same time, they wouldn't understand. Like, what is this?
This is very true. That would be... I'm just trying to imagine, like, if one of my boys came through to the cookout, and they got Auntie on their arm.
Miss Dorothy.
Miss Dorothy. Ooh, goddamn. Yeah, that would be unusual. I'm just thinking. I remember back when we was in high school. Mm-hmm. No, we was in high school anymore. Were we still in high school? Might have been. We either been like late high school, or maybe we had just graduated. We were like freshmen, like just started college. So we were like all like 18, 19, and one of our female friends. Because at the time we used to hit up like Chili's, Applebee's. That used to be our spot. You know what I mean? We just go and chill over there. Came through with a young thing at the time. I think he was like, hear her said he was like a junior in high school. This boy looked like he was fresh to high school. Like he looked, you remember when you were in ninth grade, the backpack is bigger than them, low key?
Yeah.
He looked like one of them. And the whole time while we were roasting that boy, we were like talking, like having like a civil conversation, but we were just throwing the jabs in here, just throwing jabs like how you do
this poor young man.
At his youth, and he's like, hey, what time you gotta go to bed? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just imagining like how that would look like magnified as us being adults, and then someone come through somebody significantly younger or somebody significantly older, and then the jokes that were if they were older, we probably out of respect, we probably wouldn't say that too slick. But once they was gone though, boy, yeah,
you done brought pop out here.
Yeah, what you doing? It's like, hey, she got that gum. You know what I'm saying?
Stop. Are you using him for his AARP benefits?
Yeah.
What type of discounts are you getting with him?
For real.
Put the whole team on.
Yep.
Really about it.
Yep. Are you trying to get them? You trying to get on that life insurance benefits? Mm-hmm.
Okay. We see you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kid probably mad at you, think you trying to take his inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't you be dating their son?
For real.
Not him.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Lori Harvey did, right? She was like, I didn't go for the dad. Nope. Let me go for the son. Or was it the son and then the dad?
I don't know what that
doesn't matter. We're going on a tangent.
She be getting the how she live. Any other cons? Those are the ones that
I feel like those are the main. I mean, those are some big ass cons.
Yeah.
The age difference is always. Are we still talking about just cons in general? Mm-hmm. They gonna die before you significantly.
Oh, true. That's real.
Like health issues. Are you gonna help? You gonna help your old ass partner take these pills? You know what I'm saying? You ready to have to take all these pills? You be their home health aide potentially. We talking about black community, high blood pressure, diabetes, like all that. Like
true. Is that what you want for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Osteoporosis. In the hips, my knee. I can't get out of bed too quickly. Sex.
That was the one that I was gonna say. The sex drives are only gonna be matched up, but for so long until it's like okay.
WAP is going to be rare naturally.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? For the man, he gonna have to BlueChew.com. Right, now stop because he's not paying us to say that.
True.
And yeah, you're right. Those are the sex will dovetail. It's not gonna be able to sustain for long. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. All right. So let's get into
how much difference is too much. What is the ideal age gap in your mind?
For me, like the age gap for me, I would only imagine it being an older man and younger woman, and in that case, I feel like 10 is like the most.
You're a wild boy. That's too much. 10 is the most. 5 is the most.
But hold up. But there's a minimum age. So like if you're 30 dating 20, no. But if you like 35 dating 25, we can make that work.
Okay.
We can make that happen.
Okay. I think that is true. I will agree with that. When or at what age the age gap is being enacted. Well, no. At what age you're gonna engage in that relationship makes a difference. Right. So if once you're past 30, I feel like
it's whatever.
It really is just kind of
no one cares anymore.
No one really cares anymore. I also think that because you've matured fully into adulthood, like you are making this decision clear-eyed.
You know what time it is.
You are consenting. You know what you're signing up for, and
you've probably had a sufficient enough experience with other people your age or younger or whatever it be that it's not like he or she was the only relationship I've ever been in. You didn't have other relationships and stuff like that. So it's kind of like you knew what was out here and you chose to go this route.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with that. So I will say that past 30, I don't really have too much skin in the game, but I do think 5 is optimal because 5 means we're within the same generation. Maybe
technically like 15, 18. A generation is 18 years.
Who told you that?
That's what a generation is, but yes, okay.
According to who?
The people who study this. By 18, give or take. 15 to 20.
Excuse me.
Somewhere in that, generation.
Okay, well.
But you saying 5 is the optimal?
5 is optimal to me because at least we're still peers to a certain extent. So maybe generation isn't the right term to use, but we are still peers because the shows that were on TV that I was watching as a kid, you were also watching as a kid.
That's true.
We have some shared cultural experiences, like things that happen on large scales in the world around us, we experience at the same time and in similar like states of mind.
Well, I would say no more than 10. But I would say the optimal would be we had to have been in high school at the same time. Whether I was a freshman when you were a senior or vice versa, we had to have been. Now I'm not saying we had to go to the same school, but I'm just saying like our age gap difference has to be like within that time frame.
But that's not true of us. We were never in high school at the same time. So you're saying I'm too young for you? You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. I'm too young for Brandon.
I feel like I should cut this whole thing out, but
I'm
not.
Don't you dare.
Let me do the math real quick. How was it that we not were in this? Hold up. No, we weren't.
Because you graduated when you said it was some number, single digit.
Damn. But
I was in high school from 2007 to 2011.
Oh, and I was out in 06.
Exactly.
But I'm a wild boy. I graduated early. I graduated, I was 17.
I graduated when I was 17. So?
Well, I said the ideal, but but I said 10 is the around.
Are we going to break up?
No, we're fine.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure since we're not in your ideal age gap.
It's fine. The age gap is we're not even 5 years difference.
You heard it here first, folks. We're not breaking up, even though we're not the ideal age gap, according to Brandon.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I don't think, and the opposite, I don't know, if it's probably not true for me, in the sense of like a man dating older. I would say, personally, I don't want y'all older ladies coming after me. 3 years.
Why?
I literally made that number up on the spot, but it feels comfortable for me. So I'm thinking, like, what if I'm single right now? If I was single right now, at my age, what age? Okay, this is the age for a serious relationship contender. I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Damn, I can't even say 3 years up. I wouldn't go.
Why?
Up.
Based off of what?
I wouldn't go.
Want to have kids?
Mm-hmm. I want to have kids. So if I'm looking for a serious contender for a long-term relationship, I would want to go with somebody who will provide me the most optimal amount of time in order to also be able to date, get to that stage, have our us time, and still be comfortable enough to be able to have kids maybe a few years into the relationship. And I can't do that
if you go
if I go up at my current age right now. But if I was in my 20s, maybe we can talk. We could probably make that work. But as I am now, nah, it's not for a serious long-term relationship, unfortunately.
That's fair. I don't have any retort to that. I think if it were me and I was the older woman, I probably wouldn't go further down than 3 years either, because it matters. It matters.
I think it matters more for a woman going down than it is to go up. I feel like you'd be more comfortable going older than you are going younger.
Yeah, I mean, but that's my natural preference. I think that's most women's preference. Most women want to date a man who is at least a little bit older, based off of the sheer fact that we mature faster. And
I feel like men generally would like to go a little bit younger than older,
which is fair.
And that's just most men's natural inclination. It's just when you go wild with it, like the 75-year-old dating the high school graduate type shit. Like, what was it? You saw the story? The pastor in the marrying the 18, 19-year-old that was part of the congregation.
Where did we see that?
I saw something like that. It was wild.
That's wild.
Some wild shit, but yeah.
We ready for final food for thought?
Sure. Final food for thought.
Okay, so my final food for thought is don't date someone significantly older unless you can cat see the situation. If you can date them and still walk away unscathed and get everything you want out of it, then do it. But if you can't guarantee that you're going to get the life that you want out of it, I say
that's a guarantee that you're going to get the life that you want.
So you can't guarantee it. So what am I saying to do? Read between the lines.
I guess you can't really guarantee like you're going to live the life you want with somebody your same age or younger. You can't guarantee you're going to get a life you live single. But I'll take your meaning.
Back to what I was originally saying. I think that I'm just saying that don't sign up for the life that you don't want with this person who is older, and don't get stuck there.
Okay, I hear that.
And if you know that the life that you want isn't with that person, regardless of however much time you put in, you should cut your losses, because you're not going to end up getting what you want, and you deserve that.
I hear that.
Okay.
Final food for thought for me. You gotta vet the people that you're dating for aligning interest and goals, regardless of what the age gap is on both sides' responsibility. That once you enter into a relationship, that what's the end game here? Like, do you guys have this? Do you people have the same end game? Do you both want to get married? Is marriage what y'all both want to do? Does only one person want to get married, the other person don't? Then that's not going to work out. That's not going to line up. There, you shouldn't hope for a change in the future. That's not guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's a gamble, And when you gamble, you're not guaranteed to win. So you can't be mad that if you decide to roll the dice on it, it didn't work out for you. You don't get to cry and moan online saying that this person who may or very indicated that they don't have the same end goal interest as you, don't have the end goal interest as you 2 years down the line or however long it is down the line. You knew that, I hope, and you decided to roll the dice and it just didn't work out. It's possible that it can work out and you do, and they decide, you're right, I do want kids or I do want X, Y, and Z. And okay, you won, you gambled, you took a chance, but it's not something that I would personally recommend to everybody. It's a case by case. That's something that you have to weigh. Just like when you go to Vegas, no, I don't recommend you put your house up on the roulette table because generally the house always wins. But it's possible you can come up and you come out millionaire. It's possible it's happened. But if it don't, you don't get to come on internet and be like, wine. The Venetian did me dirty. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So we good, babe?
We are.
All right. We appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of the Buffet Podcast with Brandon and Ciandra.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all tune in when?
Every Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, and on YouTube.
Thank y'all for tuning in, watching us right now. If y'all watching us, make sure y'all hit that like. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe. Trying to get these numbers up. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get our first 100. You know what I'm saying? That's our first goal. We're trying to get our first 100. If y'all listening to us, I need y'all to follow us. If y'all haven't already, y'all listen to these dulcet tones of your boy Brandon and the beautiful sounds of Ciandra, and y'all not subscribing, y'all not tuning in. Come on now, y'all playing with me. Y'all playing with us. Don't do that. Sign up. That's not sign up. Subscribe. Like, comment, all that good stuff.
Till next time, y'all.
Till next time, we'll holler at you.